race for Charleston County Council's District 6 seat is heating up between Darryl Ray Griffin and Dr. Kylon Middleton. Yesterday, I spoke exclusively with Dr. Middleton. Today, I talk one-on-one with Darryl Ray Griffin for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Darryl Ray Griffin, welcome back to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you, Quintin. Glad to be here, buddy. Glad to be here.
All right, I appreciate it greatly. Obviously, you are the CEO of Neal Brothers, and you're also a candidate for Charleston County Council's District 6 seat. And I want to go to a post that Sharika Myers posted about you a couple of weeks ago. It says this: vote for those who have shown you that they care and believe in second chances. Darryl Ray Griffin has given convicted felons jobs after their release when nobody else would hire them. He didn't just talk the talk, he also walked the walk. Let me ask you this: how are you talking the talk and also walking the walk when it comes to the Charleston County Council District 6 seat?
Well, what I've done at Neal Brothers has brought us all together. It doesn't matter the color of our skin or whatever. We're all a family or a team, whatever you want to call it. But I think Charleston County can be the same way. It's a shame you go in a restaurant and you see pretty much, all white sitting at one table and all African Americans sitting together. It needs to be, we ought to be all inclusive. We should be, it doesn't matter. We all need to be together. And the same way Neal Brothers is the same way Charleston County can be. I firmly believe that. I think Charleston is the best place to live in the world. I've said that over and over and over again. I've traveled the world. Right. And people in Charleston are special.
And when we spoke back in the spring, you basically talked to me about, obviously, the International African American Museum and the Gullah people as well as the Gullah situation. And you told me that the International African American Museum, as far as trying to include the African Americans in design and planning, it was done commercially in your mind.
Right. It wasn't with the local flavor, as you say, of the Gullah experience, and I think people like Mr. Askews and all them should have been involved in that more so, as well as we need to be deciding on what restaurants are going on that. And it shouldn't be a commercial restaurant in there. It should be a local restaurant and around the areas as well.
And you talk about the need to be, obviously it needs to be about the Gullah situation. What is the Gullah situation right now?
It's not much. I think we need to have some districts set up so that we can have that African American culture in our city. That's more, we talk about history. Let's bring that history to the forefront. Let's let that be, because it'll attract many millions of people, I think.
Yes, sir. And let me get down to the issues, because you posted this on your Facebook page recently. You said this, quote: "One of my main issues in county council is increasing honesty and transparency within our politics. Making budgets firm and concrete achieves this goal, and there are no lost dollars out of anyone's pockets." Let me ask you this: how honest and transparent is county council these days?
Well, I think there's as honest as a normal honesty portion of it, but I think we need to be more transparent. I think we need more local people that haven't been serving on these committees that are serving on them. We got great people like Sharika Myers you speak about. That lady is a workforce by herself. We need to have her involved in it, as well as people like Jerome Hayward. He's been involved in it. We need to have his views on things as well as other people. I think that's the main thing. What we need to be doing is involving more people than the same people every time. You need to have people that have been in Charleston a very long time, and they know the history and they know the culture of Charleston. We need to keep that flavor here, because that's what's made us very successful and a great place to live.
Now, let me reread that. One of my main issues in Charleston and County Council is increasing honesty and transparency within our politics. Have they been honest and transparent with the issues?
I think there's a difference in that. And what I am is I'm an open book. I believe in everybody knowing everything about what's going on. I believe that before we vote on something, I think we should be telling them and letting them, let it sit in them for a while and find our ways that we can make Charleston better. Charleston is good now, but we can make it better.
Let me stay on that. Charleston County Council is considering putting a question on the ballot to raise property taxes. Do you, Mr. Griffin, support raising property taxes to provide low-income housing in the county?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
I do, but it needs to be done right. And that I want to say that there's
Sure.
a caveat to it. We need to make sure that there's caps and all that, and then also that the money that's going to this has to be, vetted and making sure that we're doing the right thing of using that money. So I want to make sure that we have some systems in place. See, that's what the main goal of is when you have these when you have these taxes, that you make sure that you use it to the best of our abilities. And that's what I want to make sure, that those taxes go to affordable housing. But on a second note, I believe that every Charlestonian should own their own home. Every Charlestonian. We have to find a way of making that work. Everybody says, oh, that's too much money, you can't do that. No, what you do is you increase the wages on people, giving them where they can and giving them routes to go to financial institutions so that they can own their home. When you own your home, you believe in the community better than renting. I know we have to have renters, don't get me wrong, but we should have a mandate of us owning our own homes. And this is why I say that. When I was growing up, it was always brought up, hey, the American dream. The American dream is owning your own home and your kids living better than you. Well, I think we forgot that. We need to go back to that. We need to be looking forward instead of looking back. We need to be looking to moving everybody up and picking them up instead of pushing them down. That's where I believe what we should be doing.
That mandate for everyone who wants to own their own house in Charleston County, what would that look like, Mr. Griffin?
Well, we'd have to get funding for it, and I think we can from the private sector as well.
Okay.
I know you can get grants and all, but I think we can, all these big, huge corporations that are giving all this money to all these other all these other nonprofits and all these other BSers, they can be given money to making sure that in their communities, that the people living here are going to have a home. Home is where the heart is.
And you talked also about making budgets firm and concrete achieves this goal. What is that concrete now, and how do you make a budget firm in the midst of this COVID situation?
Well, it's not going to be stable. We're going to have to find ways of finding money, which I think we can. The state has, a surplus. Hopefully, they're going to help us out with that. But the bottom line is there is a lot of waste in government spending.
Any waste in Charleston County government spending?
I'm sure. I mean, I've looked at some of the budget, but I haven't looked at all of it. But when I say the waste, I'm talking about stuff that we can move forward because we can't afford it this time.
Okay.
We're in this COVID virus, and it's got we got to make sure that we're taking care of our people, right? That's the main thing. And if there's let's say moving a building down the road and it's going to cost $1.2 million to move it down the road, you don't do that. Not when we don't have the budget for it. You got to find ways of kicking the can down the street with expenses.
And you talked earlier about financial institutions helping people with, getting their own homes. Who would you approach first?
Well, we wouldn't use any. We'd start our own bank.
Okay.
It would be a community bank of Charleston County, and the private sector would go into that bank, and then our individuals in our county would go to there and try to get a loan. So it would be locally. Okay. The world is built on local government. We need local government. It needs to be strong. It needs to be precise, but it needs to be fair to everybody. And together we achieve more. If we all come together and form a team or a family, we will be better. We have been separated, and that's been on purpose. People have wanted us to be separate in our community, because when you're separate, then their agenda gets moved forward. Well, we're better than that. We're great Charlestonians. We're Charleston County. We're the best in the world. Now, North Charleston, Ladson, and Lincolnville, you're getting your share as well.
Let me go to Lincolnville. What exactly do they need right now, Mr. Griffin?
They need a lot. they're growing up there. They've got neighborhoods up in that neighborhood, and the older neighborhoods have suffered for a long time. I don't think they've been in any ways a focus in for many years, and not against anybody in the past. I just don't think, it's at the northern tip of Charleston County,
right?
And it's a small community.
Sure.
But it's been my focus, and if you'd see during the primaries, right, I went up there several times and I looked at these kids up there in Lincolnville. Need a community center that's a community center, not just an old school or an old, beat down building. The fire department, I think, is all voluntary. The one guy stays at the fire station at night. Right. I mean, come on, man. There's neighborhoods going up around there. They could actually be a secondary response to a fire up there in the Ladson area if they need to be. They need to have a full fire department. When I say full, at least some full-time employees there. They need a lot there. But you know what? We got to get it gradually up there and move it up there. I can't say I can do it on day one, but I am focused on Lincolnville as well as Ladson and North Charleston. North Charleston is another one. Right. I think they Mayor Summers did a wonderful job, and the growth of North Charleston is phenomenal. But we got to make sure that, with that growth on like Ladson Road, coming out of Lincolnville, there needs to be a light or something there. I mean, it just looks like, and then if you go down Rivers, sometimes up there in Pepper Hill, they're coming out of that neighborhoods without any light. So there needs, one of the entrances, I think there needs to be a light. It's things like that we make our community safer, and we're believing in them and letting them know that we care about them.
How do you deal with growth, Mr. Griffin, with smart growth?
Well, smart growth is the only way to go. Prime example is all the growth that's happened on the barrier islands, and Johns Island has had messy growth. They should have been thought out more. There's more construction and homes and apartments and all going up over there than the arteries, the roads can allow them to leave it in a hazardous condition, of a situation.
Right.
We need to have smart growth by getting the infrastructure in place before they bring the big neighborhoods in, and for example is like Johns Island. Yeah. You got 2 ways off of that island. You got to have 526, completion of 526, but you got to also limit the growth on Johns Island for the near future. You're gonna build that road, and everybody's gonna want to go out there and build out there, but you got to have a very, very defined growth pattern out there on Johns Island. I support that.
A couple of things. 526. Have you been able to survey your district and ask them where is the support for 526 right now?
It's way up there. It's about close to 60%.
Okay.
But here's another thing that we're not thinking about. The flyover,
yes, sir,
at Main Road with 17 and Main Road.
Yeah.
That's got to be completed as well. It's atrocious if you have to go down Main Road to go on Johns Island or go on 17. It's just you can sit there 20 minutes. The light will change 3 or 4 times. It's also a very, very dangerous intersection of Main Road and 17. Many wrecks. I've seen one happen in front of me one time. We have to bring that flyover, and we need to start moving that forward now.
How did they go and move that forward right now, Mr. Griffin?
Well, we got all the projections and all that, how they need to do it.
Sure.
We just need to get it started. I think they've also acquired some of the lands.
Oh, yes.
So we need to make sure that you just can't keep moving it down to 10, 15 years down the road. We need this now, but we also need to have a 15-year and a 20-year plan for the future. I think in the past we've had a plan, but we didn't worry about funding it and fixing it. I go to some of these other states, and they've got a road built way before the neighborhoods are built. They build them 4 or 5 lanes wide. Like Glen McConnell needs to be widened.
5 lanes?
Not 5 lanes, but at least 3 or 4 and 5. And 5 in some ways.
Okay.
But we need to be doing it now. This is the time when we make it and we move it forward. The businesses down in the city of Charleston, They're suffering so bad. We got to find ways of making them better and propping them up so that we can get them back. That's the reason why we're the city of Charleston, is because of our great businesses and our history, and we're throwing it all away. We've been just messing it up the last few months. We need to come together as a whole community. I'm talking about all of Charleston County, because all of us together make us a strong unit.
Now let me get back to Lincolnville, Mr. Griffin. Where's the infrastructure, and who has the voice for these people in Lincolnville?
Well, I'm gonna have a voice, plain and simple. I actually, the first time I went up there,
Yes, sir.
walked down some of the streets, I actually fell in love with the place. I just thought it was just a great little community. Wow, it's just, great people have been living there for a long time too.
Sure.
So we need to help them out, man. It's about helping everybody out, not just a select few.
And who are those few that really need help right now in Lincolnville?
Well, I think there's a couple small businesses there. They need help bad. They didn't get the PPP. I'm sure of it. I don't know that for a fact. I'm not saying they didn't, but
Okay.
I'm just telling you that the small minority businesses didn't get the PPP. That's why we need this local bank. I'm going back to that because
Okay.
it's so important to me.
Okay.
We have a fund. These African American people in Charleston want to be a great part of our society. I speak with them weekly.
Right.
It's time that we all open our arms up and get them going and help them prosper. And having them in networking groups and having them meetings with other clients that are coming into Charleston, maybe throwing them into a meeting and letting them sit in there and find out ways that maybe they can help out this big business. We need to prop and pull everybody up. I can't stress that enough. I played football and wrestled and played baseball all through my young life. And one thing I remember is all our coaches used to tell us, hey, if you're not one unit, you're not going to win.
Okay.
Well, the same thing goes for a community. If you're going to have certain groups that are just worrying about themselves, and that's happening in Charleston, trust me, you better find ways of making sure that we get rid of the oneers and we get the allers.
Now, with the COVID situation affecting the local economy so badly, do you believe it's affecting sales tax revenues that the county needs to fund transportation and green belt projects in the county?
Oh, for sure. You're going to have a $50 million shortfall or even more probably, but mostly with the city of Charleston, I'm sure it could be even more than that. But what we have to do is we have to be smart thinkers. We have to be planning what we're going to do the next year or two, because it's not only going to affect this year's budget, what we're doing now, because your budget's already in place, but next year's budget is going to be the real downfall. The downfall is going to be next year. So we're going to have to budget smartly and find ways of moving something down the road that we can. The airport's done it well. Elliot's done a great job over there of moving that down. Some of the expenses, like the construction expenses and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's got to be done the same way. We got construction that we can push off to another year or two or 3 or 4. We'll have to do that. But the main things is 526 and road projects. We got to work on those because the state has the money.
And let me stay on that, because how should the county fund all of these planned projects with diminished revenues?
Well, for example, 526, there's been money put aside for years for that.
Right.
They have it. It's the infrastructure bank has it. And going back to, individuals owning their own homes, that's why we need a separate bank that we can keep putting money in and loaning to the local government, the local people.
Sure.
So that the government will benefit as well on it, because they're getting property taxes and they're getting all these other taxes. So we have to find a way of making this work with it. And the goal is to have, within 5 years, is to have $100 million in this bank.
Sure.
And that'll give it a substantial hold in helping the community.
And let me get to you, obviously with politics. I asked Reverend Kylon Middleton if there is any city of Charleston leadership that's taking interest in his race. And from my sources, and I hope you don't take it wrong, got to be transparent here.
Oh yeah.
Is there a state representative that's helping you in your race? And if so, why is his interest involved in your race?
Well, I will tell you that there's one big guy that has helped me from day one, and I'm so proud of him. I'm proud of the man he's become. Is my son Harry Griffin. He believes in all of Charleston. He believes in everybody being looked at and moving forward. Yes, he's helped me. I couldn't do it without him. Other than that, there's been no state official or county official or anybody that's tried to help me out. Now, I will tell you a couple things.
Okay.
I have a great relationship with Maurice Washington.
Okay.
Maurice Washington, unbelievable. I owe him everything. He is a true leader. Also, Senator Robert Ford is actually former Senator Robert Ford has helped me as well, making sure that I'm learning the government side of it. I mean, those two guys have been probably the most influential persons for me, other than my family. Now, I will tell you about spiritually wise.
Okay.
Beside the church, Lance McLaughlin, I don't know if you know him, you need to interview him.
Okay.
He's a true leader in Charleston. Just seeing his post and talking with him a few times, I've really come to what a strong leader he is. He should be in some type of government now. And there's other Sharika, I said about her. I said about there's so many. Quadro Campbell's another one. There's a gentleman called Cameron Brown. I don't know if you know him.
Oh, from Citadel.
Yeah, these guys have been strong leaders to me, and you know what? I couldn't be here without them. But I will say yes, my son has helped me tremendously.
Else?
Nobody else.
Okay.
Nobody else.
Okay.
Now on the other side, I don't know, because you know what? The bottom line is I think Kylon is a great guy. He's a pastor of his church and pastor of the community. I believe that he would be a strong candidate if it weren't for me being in the race. I think I'm stronger, but if the people elect him, I support him 100%.
Why are you stronger, Mr. Griffin?
Well, I'm stronger because I've been a business leader, and I've been I put people together, and I know how to put a team together to get this whole county back in focus. Now, Brantley Moody's did a really good job on county council. He's I've spoke to him once or twice, but nothing to help me through the government.
Darryl Ray Griffin, thank you so much for your time, and again, welcome back to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you, Quintin, and God bless everybody.
Likewise.